Hello, welcome to my category for your sub. I'm Ben, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at our latest acquisition and a watch I've had quite a journey with. So before we get into today's video, quick wristwatch check. I am wearing the all black Cassie Oak, the GA2100. I still really love this watch. We'll talk about this a little bit later because there was a moment where it may have gone, but thankfully it's still here. It's on the wrist, and to sort of commemorate the process, I've thrown it on today. So if you've been following the Instagram page and the channel for a while, you will be familiar with my little Seiko SKX. I really did love it, and I messed around with the hands and the bezels and doing a few little mods here and there. However, when I got the Oris Aquis, and we've had a few other changes in the collection recently, I found that I'd be wearing it and I would walk past something that's on a table or something and just sort of change it, and I wasn't really sort of wearing it or enjoying it. I've always been a lover of small watches, and I sort of noticed that over the months the amount of smaller size watches we've had has sort of declined and the average size has got larger. So I knew I wanted the SKX out and that to be replaced with something a little bit slim but still practical, maybe a little bit more dressy that I can wear for work. The watch we will be unboxing and taking a look at today is the Seiko Alpinist SARB017. We have it in this lovely box. I'm pretty certain this isn't the original box, but this is how it came to me, so we can do a little unboxing still. I sort of knew that I wanted an Alpinist, and it was sort of the top of my, oh, this could work, and I thought about some vintage Omegas and maybe a SARB033. So I put some feelers out primarily for an Alpinist for my SKX, for a trade for my SKX and a little Cassie Oak. I got pretty close on making a deal on the SARB033, but unfortunately the deal fell through. That all changed a couple of days ago when in the span of about 10 minutes I managed to both sell my SKX and broker a deal on an Alpinist, both in my hometown. Everything went through on the same day. It was a little bit stressful, but we got there. Obviously, due to certain circumstances at the moment, all guidelines were upheld and it was all kosher and all good, which led us getting the Alpinist. And I have to say, I'm pretty sure this is the cheapest Alpinist that has possibly ever sold. I won't sort of go into specifically, but it was a pretty good deal. Thank you very much for that. So some history for the Alpinist. The Alpinist line dates back to the 60s. However, it was in the 90s where we have the icon we know today. But 1995 is where this was designed and produced. It was designed by Seiko. Actually, at the time, Seiko would warn their designers that Seikos with green dials do not sell. Sakai created the beige and the black colour for a bracelet. However, when it came to the croc style leather strap, he felt that the green really worked far better. The shade of green picked was a very dark almond green and actually had its inspirational roots in the classic British racing green of the minis of the day, which I believe he drove. Along with this and its balance between sporty and smart, I feel it is a real home run for Seiko. So here we have the Alpinist then. This is the SARB017. Just really quickly unbox it, how it came to me. This isn't the original box. We'll take it out. Okay, so here it is then. This is the Seiko SARB017. The Alpinist, as it is more commonly referred to. We have a 39mm case. A little bit underwhelmed by the engraving on that we can see on the screw down case back, and you've got all of your markings to the movement and the serial number. So turning the watch back over, we do have a date complication and an inner rotating compass bezel. The action is really smooth. It does turn really easily. Maybe be a little bit more resistance in this, but it's not really a problem for me. The watch also features a piece of sapphire glass. I don't think there's any anti-reflective coating on it, but for this price point, and especially for Seiko, it's still really nice to have. The movement inside is the 6R15, which is kind of based off of the
NH35, and which is in turn based off the 7S26. It's kind of updated. It's got hacking, hand winding, all the features you'd like. It's 50-hour power reserve as well. And then lastly, we have a lovely screw down case back and a screw down crown, which help give the watch 200 meters of water resistance. The watch is now discontinued since 2018, but you can find it either sort of slightly used like this example, or sort of on grey market as well. The range was recently brought back with a rather large price increase and only some minor sort of changes, but we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later on. It is worth noting this isn't the bracelet it comes on. This is the strap code Angelus Jubilee. It's absolutely fantastic. I was always very wary about strap code bracelets and whether or not they're worth it. This is just what it came on, so I didn't really have a choice. And I actually originally didn't really like this style, but it's really grown on me, and I think this just looks absolutely superb. So as this isn't the standard strap that it comes on, I don't have a stock strap for them, which is probably not a bad thing because they're rubbish anyway. We're going to have a little play around with a few different straps, a few different sort of colour combos as well, and see what we make of it. So we'll start then by removing the bracelet that it is on. I really love it when a bracelet has these sort of little cutouts that really make chaining straps a piece of cake. Okay, so we have the watch without the bracelet on then, and we can see a few sort of strap choices I've got. We have kept the strap code bracelet here just for now, just so we can see. These are my sort of 4 favourite straps that I've tried. I'm going to start with this rather nice beige NATO. This is actually from a Timex that I had a little while ago. I believe it was a Timex Weekender, which we have spoken about on the channel before. It's nothing special in terms of leather NATO, but it is quite slim, which really helps with the Alpinist, so it doesn't give too much of a bulky look on the wrist. I think you can really see that kind of the beige tan sort of colour of the strap really works well with the indices, and it's a lovely contrast from the green. So the next strap on the list, of course I couldn't do this without throwing it on the NDC. This is the regular NDC. If you haven't seen the video about this strap, I sort of explain where I've cut this down, again, to give it a more slim look. And I think you'll agree this looks absolutely awesome. I love how the green colour matches the green elastic material with it. And again, the yellow provides such a nice contrast to the gold. It almost looks like this was made for this watch. A lot of people put the Flightmaster and the SKXs on these NDCs, but I really think the Alpinist works absolutely fantastic. I've saved this one for last. This is actually another Timex strap, but I've chosen this as a little bit of an oddball. This is kind of a worn sort of denim material. So here we have the Alpinist on this sort of denim-y blue Timex strap. The reason I've chosen this actually is for 2 reasons. One, I think the blue and the green give a really lovely contrast. Also, I love this denim-y material, and I think it really harks back to the traditional Japanese noragis and workwear that are worn, and I just think it really suits the aesthetic and gives a lovely authentic Japanese vibe.
The Alpinist was originally designed for Japanese mountaineers and started its life, as many of the best Seikos do, as a domestic release. So it was only released in Japan. This also ran true when Yashiro Kuzuga updated the Alpinist in 2006. He upgraded the movement from the 4S series to the 6R movement, as well as increasing the overall size of the Alpinist. Due to the increased size, he felt the balance in the design was off, so the hands were slimmed down, and there was also sapphire glass introduced for the first time. I can certainly see their inspirations behind the watch. It has been inspired by the outdoors and traditional British gentlemen. I feel I can very much relate to that, being British and working in the industry I do. It seems to fit in perfectly. Quoting Ernest Hemingway, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self." I really get this sense of this from the Alpinist, not only from its previous incarnations, but also it's not trying to be something it's not. It's It's got a rather complex design for a time-only piece, yet it still retains its class and elegance, and whether you're at the top of a mountain or boardroom, it never looks out of place. I have to say, I was never a huge fan, and I actually hated it a little bit for quite a while, despite green being my favourite colour. And I actually have always appreciated the gold indices and their layout being reminiscent of the old kind of Tudor oyster princes and the Smith's Everest watch that Sir Edmund Hillary had as his backup to his Rolex. And I'd sort of see it around and sort of think like, oh, I hate it. And then I'd see it again and be like, oh, I don't like it. And then I sort of would see it again and sort of think, oh, I actually really quite like it. And then there was this photo actually really persuaded me of it on an oyster kind of style bracelet, and I just knew I had to have one. I was a little apprehensive as to how I would feel, as I hadn't really seen one in person. I think I'd seen the odd one on the train or whatever, but I instantly fell in love with it and have been totally won over. So there we have it. It's back on the wrist. It feels so good to have it back on the wrist. I've been wearing it non-stop for the last couple of days. I just couldn't help myself. I did want to wait for the review, but I just couldn't help myself. I have to say, my first big pro of this watch is the quality. It feels absolutely rock solid. It feels so reliable, and it just carries on ticking away. I feel the value for money on the SARB017 is really, really spectacular. It's really rare that you get sapphire crystal anyway from a Seiko without modding it. So to get it for not much more than, say, a baby turtle or a tuna is pretty bloody good. Another big pro for me is it's just a little bit different. You don't sort of see this sort of thing every day. Maybe the only other thing I can really think of that sort of multiple times the price actually is the Oris Big Crown Pointed Date, which is another favourite of the channel. With those sort of cathedral-like hands. But other than that, there are hints of other watches throughout the years, but you really do get a sense that this thing has its own watch. So this is maybe a bit less so about the actual watch, but the dimensions of the watch really do help this. And it is just how damn comfortable this watch is to wear. I'm sure the Strapco bracelet that we have it on is a large contributing factor of that. As we went through with a few different strap options, we have had it on a few different things, and I must say it is comfortable on every single thing I've put it on. Unfortunately, there are a few negatives, and actually there's less so much about this watch and more what's happened since to the watch. The leather strap is also an issue. I've personally not had any experience with the leather strap. However, from every photo and picture and video and close-up that I've seen, it just looked nasty and horrible. I don't know of anyone that's ever kept their Alpinist on that leather strap. So come on, Seiko, sort your strap game out. Another negative for me is actually the crown operates the compass. I feel that it could be a bit more weighted and have a bit more of a solid feel to it and a bit more sort of resistance. There are sort of some times where I sort of look down and it's been knocked out of place, and it does annoy me a little bit, but then I also do get that tactileness of playing around with it, which I do find very fun, and I do enjoy just like spinning it around. It's almost like a mechanical fidget spinner for your watch, which is fantastic, and I love that feature. However, my biggest con about the watch, and something I want to just dive into a little bit more, this version was discontinued in 2018, and Seiko recently released their new version of the Alpinist. The first negative about the design of the new one is the white date window. The black date window just subtly fades away on this one so nicely that I don't know why you would ever change that, but I guess they have, so it's obviously a legibility thing. So if we run through the specs, the old version against the newer version, they've both got sapphire glass. The new one does have AR coating, which I don't think this one has, but who really knows. The movement in this is the 6R15 and the new movement is the 6R35. They both have a horrible cheap leather strap on them. They both hack, they both hand wind, they both have 200 meters water resistance, they both are anti-magnetic, they both have a compass. However, this is where things start to change. So you can pick the 017 version up for around £400. However, the new version is a whopping £650. For me, that is a little bit absurd. What are you thinking, Seiko? Just no. I don't see why anyone would buy the new version of it for an extra £250. The only difference is an extra 20 hours on the power reserve from the movement and a bit of AR coating. It's just ridiculous. I wouldn't mind if they'd done an upgraded version and put a nice bracelet, like something akin to the strap code one or the Uncle Seiko bracelets. Whack it on a bracelet, put the price up 50 quid or 100 quid. That's okay. I don't mind that, but not just, no, please no. So there we have it. That has been our little unboxing and review of the Seiko Alpinist. I'm sure that, like with all of the watches we seem to review here, I am absolutely in love with this watch and I can't see it going anywhere but anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe. It really does help and make a difference. And we will see you in the next episode. Thanks, bye.